Marky Worthington Podcast all day.
All day.
Dream by night.
Don't buy me a drink. Just give me $10.
All day.
Go down to the strip club with your floppy disk and turn it into a hard drive.
Yeah, right. You'll get fucking thrown out by Big Tony.
We're here to name names and make people feel more ashamed for shit that they're not proud of.
Don't blow it. Keep it simple. Count your money.
Oh, whatever it is.
Welcome to the Marky Worthington Comedy Podcast. This is episode 67. Joined here with a special guest today. Introduce yourself. We got...
Suma Iyer.
There we go. Now, that wasn't me just trying to be like, I don't know how to say your name properly. That was just like, you know, people tend to hear the more you hear a name, the more you recognise it.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
You ever seen any of these? Like, we've just had the election, and so many election campaigns are just... could be just the name of the person. Like, this is the bare minimal that we need to give you to know what to do when you get into that booth. You just see that name, you're like, I've seen that more than any other name, so I'm just going to tick that box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like, my name does get mispronounced a bit.
Yeah.
I quite like in the post, so my last name is Iyer.
Yeah.
I'll often get Lyer.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Somalia, which is...
Yeah. Which is, well, I'm...
casting aspersions, really. Yeah. My my dad's name's Padma.
Yeah.
And
is that like a security question? Should I bleep that?
Yeah. Shit, I've given away a security question.
Like, just unrelated. What's your mum's maiden name?
just so you know. Yeah. Those quizzes that come up on Facebook that are like, oh, you know...
What's the name of the first street you lived on?
Yeah,
And we'll
that's
tell
right.
you your stripper name.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I've seen that shit. But yeah, we won't mention the time that I put together a draft poster for a gig that we had and I spelt your name wrong on it anyway, so...
Oh, no, you actually weren't the first person to do that.
Good.
Yeah.
Do you know what that was? That was actually... what I did... So iPhone, I don't know if you're an iPhone user, but I used this, like... If someone sends you a picture on iPhones, you can, like, copy it, like text, like it auto-detects text.
Yeah.
And instead of just making sure it was right, I copied the line up from something else.
Oh, yep.
And it just auto-detected no... I don't think there was even... What was it? It didn't even have an I in there.
Yep.
Like, yeah.
Yep.
And first glance... would have told me that was wrong, but instead I just like truck drivered it.
Yep.
That's a term I use for when you just do something without thinking about it.
Yeah, right.
Because
okay.
like the driver fatigue and shit and like meth. But yeah, I just I remember just showing you the post like, hey, how's this look? And you're just like, no.
No, it was that was actually... I'd forgotten that. I was actually thinking of a different occasion when it had happened. But yeah, it happens all the time.
Well, there's the mic stand. Normally it's the chair when I lean back that makes the noise.
Well, yeah, I mean, with any kind of squeaking,
I
feel like it's good to explain that it's
the
material
chair.
is not any bodily. I did eat, burritos last night, but that is not what you are hearing. Yeah.
It's at least you know that any claim you make is legitimate then.
Yes, that's right.
I had these, so we had family friends when I was younger that had like those tables that like there's like a center part so you can like make...
Yeah, I love those.
Yeah, so it's like an 8-seater or a 12-seater.
Yeah.
Do you remember when people actually had that? Like, I don't think it's as common to have that many people at your place these days.
No, I think it's frowned upon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So ever since they stopped doing swingers parties, no one goes to... Look, honestly, I feel like if you're going to catch up with more than like 6 friends, you go to a venue to do it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I think it's also because housing sizes are getting so much smaller. People are living in apartments and shit. No one goes to a house more than like 2 people or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And people don't have drawing rooms anymore. Like you've got like a shared living and dining and that's it.
Yeah. Everyone has a housemate till they're like 48.
Yeah. I went to my parents' book club yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
I'm from Wollongong and...
nice.
Yeah, drove down, went to their book club. My parents didn't go. I went.
Were they meant to go?
Yes, they were meant to go. They just didn't fucking show up. It was like, okay, cool.
What a stitch up.
It was such a stitch up. But, like, their loss, I basically scammed a lot of food and was like, yes,
Nice.
this is great.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of events are catered because they know people wouldn't turn up otherwise. People, you know, even, you know, everyone knows someone kind of well enough to go to their funeral, but you know that there's going to be food there.
You absolutely
so
do.
you're just like, oh, that sucks, but like also like, you know, better get to the sandwich platter before there's only the like shitty flavors left.
So, I've never been to a white person funeral.
Okay.
Actually, I've never been to a white person funeral.
Yeah.
Is sandwiches?
We don't die. That's why.
You don't die. That's true. You just live on.
We just keep going. Yeah.
Incorporeal. Yeah.
yeah.
Sandwiches. Is that the thing? Because I watched an Irish, I can't remember, some sort of sitcom, and sandwiches were the feature of the funeral.
Right. Okay. Well, it depends on the kind of white.
Yeah.
So if it's like Irish, that kind of white is just booze, no food. Like it's actually a sin to eat. You need to just continue drinking.
Oh, I see. Okay, no stomach
funeral rolls
lining.
into the wake, and before you know it, you've lost a week of your life.
Yeah. How did this happen?
Yeah, exactly. 2 weeks later, you need to go to 3 more funerals from the wake when everyone got fucked up. And someone brought lace coke, and now someone had ketamine.
Yeah.
And before you know it, there's another person dying of, what's that fucking thing that they lace coke with? Fentanyl?
Yeah, fentanyl. Yeah.
There we go. That's actually, did you hear about, I think it was last year, 4 comedians in LA, it was New York comedians maybe, were doing coke, and one of them felt bad from like the smallest amount, so went to bed.
Yep.
Came out, and the other 3 were dead.
Fuck. Wow.
Yeah, so like that was from fentanyl. So like the person that went to bed was like sick, like I think had to go to hospital. Yeah. But
was it essentially okay? Yep.
Eventually was okay. But the other 4 dead.
Okay.
That's fucking crazy, right?
That is a real downer. Wow.
And as if that's not a fucking wake up call, right? Like,
yeah.
But fucking fentanyl, right?
Gee.
It's one of the fucking hell. I just like mad tangent, but funerals.
Yeah, funerals.
Okay.
Yeah, white people funerals. You were walking me through the types of white people.
In my experience, funerals. It is mostly like sandwiches,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also like slice as well. You got to have a couple of sweet things as well.
So, is there like a
caramel?
Caramel is the apex.
That's the most. If it was like, if you said how many people like caramel, I think caramel would be the most popular. Mm-hmm. So, like, if you're catering to a bunch of people, you're going to have the most popular one. Then you have a couple vanilla, a couple, you know.
Yep.
A couple of other flavors. But, yeah, sandwiches and slice and fucking tea and coffee, you've got that shit sorted.
You've got it, yeah.
Maybe a couple of biscuits as well. You know, the Arnott's family packs of all the different things in there.
Yeah. No milk arrowroot. It's got to be like, there has to be Monte Carlos in there. Yeah?
Monte Carlo, Kingston's, anything like that.
Kingston's are necessary.
And if you've got a nut allergy, you fucking better be prepared to be the one that's funeral it is next week, because none of that shit is prepared with any sort of allergies in mind. Yeah. You know? Like, there's always just an old lady cutting up cake that's, like, just licking the icing off the fucking knife, and you just fucking grin and bear it.
Yep.
Because you know, like, that...
This is not the time.
That she would have done that before, you just wouldn't have seen it. Mm-hmm. And it wouldn't have worried you, so you just need to let it happen.
Yep.
I've definitely seen that shit, though, like, where people are, like, preparing food and you're just like, oh, fuck, no. Like, you ever been somewhere, like, that's, like, not catered by, like, a catering company, but someone's auntie just said that they'd fucking do it?
Yeah.
And you're like, don't, like, they're not wearing gloves, they're just fucking raw dogging it. Oh.
Raw dogging tea cake,
Yeah, she's like crying. It's a funeral. She's like wiping the tears. Just fucking mess. But yeah, that's white guy funerals, white people funerals. So what's the difference? What sort of funerals have you been to?
Like, I went to a funeral for a friend who was of Lebanese extraction, and there was just it was all
They were extracted.
They were extracted. That's how they died.
Yeah.
It didn't work out. Yeah. There was great food. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine it not being good at a Lebanese funeral.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Imagine just having a fucking banger meal, right? And you were like low key upset. Like you're obviously upset about the funeral, but you were low key like gauging people's reaction to your favorite new thing that you just learned how to cook. It's just like, oh, fucking... The ziti was a hit, though. That's like one thing I learned how to... That's the zucchini fucking fritters or whatever that I worked out.
They went really well. This is from Ottolenghi. How did you feel about that one? Just added a bit of tahini.
It's a double-edged sword. Your friend died and no one ate your fucking meal.
Well, you know, I would hope that at my funeral that people kind of make lemonade in whatever way they can. Just like, yeah, sure. Actually, my funeral has to be so well catered that, like... I would feel sad that I didn't get to eat that meal. Like, that's what I would like.
Yeah, yeah.
Just all my favourite things, which are, like, often just really... I just like a lot of really trashy food.
Yeah, what's your go-to? So, last meal, okay?
Yeah, last meal. Let's do this. Yeah.
What's that? What if you had to choose?
That's really hard.
Aside from the comedic side of you, the comedic side of me that just says like raw popcorn kernels, I want to see if I get the electric chair if they like I just blow out. Yeah.
And of course you could just choose like a meal that's full of refried beans, just so whoever's
clean
cleaning
up.
the chair is just like it's just a mess.
It's a mess,
Just
yeah.
absolute carnage.
Yeah, make them pay for your crime.
Yeah, absolutely. Someone has to.
I think the real crime in that is refried beans.
Yeah. I like a good refried bean.
Yeah, okay.
I like a bad refried bean
Yeah.
also. I'll just eat them.
Okay.
My last meal would be tough. I just love cheese on toast.
Yeah.
Like just a really good, like nice bread.
They've got world-class chefs. They're ready for the
They're
last
just ready
meal.
for this.
And they
Yeah,
just
yeah.
pull out the Jaffa machine.
Oh my God. I had jaffles last week.
Yeah.
Well, winter jaffles.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is natural, right? Leftover curry and cheese on a jaffle is beautiful.
Yeah. What kind of curry?
It was potato and pea.
Okay.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Let's say I'm diverse enough to know that there's different types.
There's
More than butter chicken. Yeah.
There's
pretty
more
good.
than butter chicken's great though.
Yeah, it's not actually a thing though, right? Like it's
Butter
not an
chicken?
actual curry. It's just like a white guy version of a curry.
But then when you go to India now, they'll have butter chicken on the menu and it's cooked in butter. Like it's really
actually
rich.
butter chicken.
Yeah, it's delightful.
I would have to say last meal.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, my
Like,
stomach's
you're
just
just like,
rumbling. just
I'm
thinking
ready for
about
this
it, yeah.
last meal. Yeah.
No, my body's just like, oh, I knew this day would
Yeah, it
come.
would come. It's just, a
Yeah.
bit sooner than I thought, but yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that you're not caring about calories at this point.
No, of course
no
not.
one. Imagine if someone's last meal was like, just want a salad, fucking that sort of
No,
shit.
you deserve to die. Just, fine. We don't need you anymore.
Yeah, exactly. If you waste your last meal on a salad, it's probably the best thing you could do is jump in that chair.
Yeah.
Yep. I would have to say, the bowl at the end is the helmet that you put on.
Yeah.
Refried salad. I'm a stickler for a fucking... All right, so I know that there's a lot of places that do a pizza.
Yeah.
Right? You go to fucking Domino's, you get these $5 shitty pizzas.
Yeah.
and that sort of stuff.
Do you get the text messages from Domino's?
No, they haven't texted me back. Yeah, they got fucking... Yeah, I got friend zoned by
Domino's.
Domino's, yeah.
This is really sad.
Yeah,
man. I'm sorry.
I know. It's a new low. But they... no, I always make sure when I sign up for something, I always, like, unsubscribe from all the communications. Like,
Yeah.
I'm lucky enough that I haven't fallen into that, like... You know how some people have, like, a spam email address?
Yep.
I just actually have good management of notifications.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't have that.
I've worked in IT for like 8 years.
Yeah.
I kind of know how to do stuff as it comes up instead of like wait until it becomes a
a
problem.
real problem. Yeah. No, I'm the worst.
So I don't get the text because
Yep.
I don't subscribe to them, luckily enough. But
Yeah.
sometimes I miss out on deals. I'm like, fuck, if only I was on that train.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, so many places do a pizza. you know, you've got, like in Canberra, got like pizza capers, crust, all that sort of shit, right? And that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, crust pizza, I think as far as tiers go, it goes like Domino's is like bottom tier, right?
Yeah.
It's there, it exists. If you have to, you'll do it. If like there's a work lunch or
And,
whatever,
yeah.
and they fucking rock up with like 8 boxes of Domino's pizza and throw them on the table,
Yeah.
you'll fucking have a slice.
Yeah.
Yep. It's still better than whatever you have in the fridge that you brought in from
Yeah.
home.
Yep.
Okay. By the way, I've never fucking bought something in to work that I've been excited to eat. It's just been because like I wanted to save money and like bring in food. Like
So what's your standard sad desk lunch then?
fucking, so I, up until recently, I didn't actually understand the power of some of the better brands of 2-minute noodles.
Yes.
In my mind, that was just 2-minute noodles were just the like Maggi Oriental was about as fucking diverse as it got.
Yep.
Yeah, right. I found that you can get instant ramen now.
Yep.
With like little like multiple sachets and shit.
Yeah.
I've always
Yeah,
known
yeah,
about them. Actually, when Megarine came out and it had fucking 5 packets of
Oh,
shit,
yeah.
I was like, this is a fucking
Gourmet.
game changer.
Yeah.
This is fucking gourmet. And I was blown away by that, but I went out to Costco and got some of their like ramen with like
Oh, I've not had it.
okay, yeah, they have like pork ramen and shit. It's fucking good. And that's been my go-to recently, and I've enjoyed that because it's like quick, but it's also good and it's cheap as shit.
Yeah.
But until then, my go-to was just those fucking like Uncle Ben's rice things.
Yes.
And I get so sick of eating them by the end. Or like before that, I used to be that dude that would always be like getting those like the light and easy meals. And once you've had every one of those, you get sick of it.
Yep. Yep.
Like you like, it doesn't matter how much you pay for them, they're always like standard quality.
The Alfredo sauce in a light and easy meal is the texture of human sadness.
Yeah.
I have eaten that and just been like, oh, this is
Also human creation. So
also human. Yeah, that's right.
That's an interesting flip there.
It is. It is. The gravedigger puts on the forceps, and that's how it goes.
Oh, is that the carbonara sauce?
I love carbonara.
Yeah,
as well,
same.
actually.
Like
Yeah.
so, as far as tiers go, I think there's like Domino's, which is like
That's bottom tier.
That's
Yeah.
bottom,
But we all do it.
but we do it.
Yeah.
There's above that, and also people like should definitely comment like in the YouTube shit with their thing. I'm trying to encourage
Yes.
more people
Yeah,
to
yeah.
do this because there's always going to be someone that'll tell me I'm fucking wrong.
Yeah.
Pizza capers and crust are like the next level above that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that there's people, like, there's companies I don't mention. Like, for example, like, there's places like Pizza Hut and Eagle Boys, right? I haven't eaten a pizza from either of those places in, like, fucking 20 years because they're just not near where I am.
Yeah.
But they're, like, kind of in the top level. Like, I think Pizza Hut's above Eagle Boys, but they're all still in that bottom tier. Like,
Yeah.
they're kind of in the high bottom.
Yes.
But once I had a fucking legit wood-fired pizza from like an Italian place where they don't like, it's not like eating like a bunch of toppings on like a healthy base, and like it's like a thin base, it's like handmade, like the it's all like cured over 4 days and shit. They actually do this. They have to plan. There's a place in Jamison that does it.
I know the one. It's awesome.
Pizza Artigiana,
Yeah.
fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I don't even care plugging them.
Yeah.
That's a free advertising.
Yeah.
But I was talking to the guy that runs that. He says he grew up in Italy, and the only oven they had was a wood fire.
Yeah. Yep.
So, like, even anything you wanted to cook, you had to use that. That
Yes.
was like, he said they didn't have an oven. So that was his regular thing. So, like, he said that you get to learn how to keep it at the right temperature, how to, like, do all this stuff just naturally. It's like second nature. They need to prepare their bases 4 days prior. So, like, if they think it's going to be a busy Friday, they need to know early in the week
Yeah.
how many to make. So I've gone in there sometimes and they've, like, it's been just before close and they'll have one base left and they're like, we nailed it. Like, we knew exactly how many to do.
Yep.
They'll be, like, happy that they, like, didn't go over or under.
God.
And it's just an art.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually what it is. Artigiana is, like, pizza art is, like,
Is what the name means?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But a legit pizza with, like, a good base, like, the right amount of toppings, the right complementary toppings, so
Yeah.
like flavors that don't clash and all that shit. I would fucking go out a happy man if I could eat that as my last.
That's
thing.
your last meal. That's
Yeah.
actually a really good choice.
That's
yeah.
that's like a fucking 20-minute segment about your last meal. Look at that, we're smashing smashing it.
I feel like anything to do with food, though, I'm just ready to talk about it forever and ever.
Yeah. I think Canberra's got a decent, like, I've been to other, like, Melbourne and shit where you're like, whoa, this is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But considering, all things considered, I think we have a pretty good choice of stuff.
Definitely. Yeah.
Do you know what I haven't really got around, and I really should, like, make the time to do it? You know, all of the, like, little tiny restaurants in, like, that whole ANU circle, all the, like, ramen places and all that sort of shit.
Yeah, like Shanghai dumpling and stuff.
All that sort of stuff. I haven't taken the time to, like, go through them.
Yep.
And I definitely think that there's a lot of food that I haven't had that, like, I've available to me. I just haven't taken the plunge. I'm also routinal. Like, I'm the guy that, like, for fucking, like, 10 years, every time I went to a Chinese restaurant, Mongolian Lamb every time. Didn't even fucking check the menu.
Correct. Mongolian Lamb is the correct answer.
Yeah.
I was a vegetarian for about a decade, and Mongolian Lamb was what broke me.
Oh, really?
And, and made me stop. I was at a Chinese place and went, and it wasn't even like
how long were you vegetarian for?
A decade. Yeah. And, like, my dad's vegetarian, so
from
like
how old did you start?
14.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And we went to a Chinese place.
What started it though?
Like my dad's veggie, so it was already like a pretty vegetarian household. And then I thought, I don't know what I thought, 14-year-old teenage girl thoughts about becoming a vegetarian. And I did it. But as a lot of vegetarians, I didn't eat particularly healthily or anything like that when I wasn't at home. But I broke for the dumbest reason. I just kind of wanted Mongolian lamb. And that was what did it.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, that looks tasty. Just like...
Had you had it before?
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
I'd had it before and I remembered it was excellent.
Yeah. It's a 10-year memory.
Just locked in there. I was like, oh, I just really need to have it. Which is terrible because, there wasn't even like there wasn't a strong ethical standpoint that made me go, no, I'm going to turn back.
Maybe that's why it was easier to break. Like, I know people that, like, don't drink because of certain reasons.
Yeah.
You know, like, they may have, like, had a problem and stopped, and that's why they don't want to go back.
Yep.
All that sort of shit. But I think that, like, if you do something because you just felt like it, it's harder to keep doing it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. But was there anything that you didn't have because you're vegetarian, and then once you stopped that, you're like, oh, now that I can have, well, now that I'm having meat again, I really want to try this? Yeah,
I think it's like meat that's in incidental things. Like, I didn't have pasta carbonara, which we mentioned, which is, to me, like, it's magic white people food.
Yeah.
My mum's side of the family, they're from Bengal and they cook a lot of fish. I love seafood. I could do without meat for the rest of my life, but any kind of seafood is... Yeah. So avoiding that stuff, like even things like fish and chips.
Yeah.
Though nowadays there do tend to be some heaps good substitutes. Like
it's easier now, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I'll go for like quite a long time and realise I've not eaten any meat, and not from like trying to or anything.
It's like, I think for the last couple of years I've accidentally done dry July. Legit. Because like, so I've always been, like, the whole time I've been in Canberra. So I've been in Canberra. This is my 10th year I've lived in Canberra.
Oh, where were you before?
South Coast.
Yeah.
So, like, seafood, fish and chips. I know what you're talking about, yeah? White guys, yeah. Actually, a lot of my mates were Aboriginal.
Yeah.
And they'd take me out fishing. So it'd be just like you're saying about like all the like, it's hard to say no to certain like seafoods and shit. Like when it's fucking fresh, it's so difficult. Like to like not want some. Not that I had any restrictions, but it's just like it's also hard to not have it fresh after you've had it fresh. You know what I mean?
Correct. Yeah.
Like I'm not going to go back and cook up some fish fingers. You know, like kind of do sometimes though. Like, but yeah.
Yeah, fish fingers are good.
Yeah. So I mean, comedy budget, you got to get used to what you can afford,
yeah, that's
right?
Yeah.
But like I was literally like I was talking to someone on the podcast about this. I was like the white cockatoo, they'd call me, because I was just like the white guy hanging out with all the Aboriginal people, and we're just fucking fishing and stuff. Like I remember one time we would go to the beach, and I'm with like my mate and his family, and probably like 14 years old.
Yeah. We
get out there like out at the beach, and they all just jump out of the car and run straight into the water.
Yeah.
And their old man was there like setting up his like fishing rod and stuff, and I'm just there putting on the sunscreen. I'm like amazed that like no one's putting on. I'm like, does anyone else want?
No.
I just lathered, because I've always been kind of a bit chubby, so I chuck all the sunscreen on my on like my body because I'm not wearing a shirt, and the old man's just standing there holding, like my mate's old man's Aboriginal, is holding the fucking fishing rod. He's like putting a hook on there. And he just like looks over at me and goes like, "Fuck, Mark, put a shirt on, my eyes are burning. The fucking sun's got me." It's like reflecting off me and into his, like when someone gets their watch to like fuck with you and just like blind you.
Yeah.
He's just like, fuck. And he was wearing like the fishing sunnies too. But I had a lot of fun, like when I was younger, growing up down the coast.
Yeah.
And I think that just moving up here it's just for work, and then I've sort of got my group of friends, and like I'm getting like comedies up here, and I've really grown into living in Canberra.
Yes.
But the whole time I've been here, I've also done bartending on the side of whatever day job I had. So I mentioned before I worked in IT for like 8 years. I've been a bartender on the side for 10, and for the first 2 years I just worked in retail before I got my first IT job. And I have, being a bartender, never really had the time to go out or drink, because like when everyone's drinking or hanging out, I'm working. So by the time everyone like fucks off and it's your turn to have a drink if you want one, I just want to go to bed. So the last few years I've just done dry July accidentally.
By accident,
like I've got like mid-August and just been like, fuck, I haven't drank for like 8 weeks, you know?
Right. So like it's a long weekend. I don't know if it's a long weekend for you. But will you say this evening like have a beer or something like that?
Yeah, like, so my current job is pretty good. Like I like recently started a new job, and it's like permanent, and it's like, you know, it's consistent, it's going well. So I haven't been doing as many bar shifts. Because it's a casual job and I don't really need. Like, it hasn't been a conscious effort, but it's just, I guess, the time of year, there's less capacity, like less people are going out in winter. So naturally they're going to need less bartenders to accommodate for less crowd. And just naturally people that their only job is bartending tend to get the shifts, which is how things work. And I'm completely fine with that because I get to the end of the weekend and I haven't worked all weekend, so I feel fresher on Monday. So it works out well. It came at a good time. But yeah, being a long weekend, I've got time off. I'll have a drink. Like, I don't consciously make an effort. But just lately, I haven't been doing as many bar shifts, so I've been like free to have a drink if I wanted, you know, and I'll do that. It's not like a conscious effort. It's just I'll get to the end of the night and be like, I just like why do I have one drink? You know, like, why would I have a drink?
When I'm about to go to bed anyway.
Yeah. Like, I get having a drink before bed if you're, like, wanted to relax or whatever.
Yeah.
But normally by the time I'm finished at the end of the night, I'm that fucking tired that I don't need to unwind.
Yeah.
I'm just ready to go to sleep.
Yeah, okay.
I get more worked up from comedy. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like, have you ever just finished at a mic, whether you did good or bad, and you get home and you're just, like, still buzzing?
And can't wind down.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, I'll watch my set when I get home sometimes while it's still fresh and, like, write down notes or change lyrics and change lines in the joke. And then I'll get worked up over that. Like, I'll get re-amped.
Yeah. And next thing you know, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning and you should be up by 7.
For work, yeah. What's the first time that you, like, had a fucking solid set or a solid bit? Do you remember, like, where that was?
Yeah, I do actually.
Yeah.
It was at Gang Gang.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, the format was a classic. It was listing things. And it was a bit that was about having a kidney infection and how it's not something.
I know the bit.
Yeah, you know the bit. So it's very easy to list a bunch of, like, really
Reasons.
disgusting ways to get a kidney infection that will get a laugh out of the audience.
Yeah.
And, like, it was a good night. I can't remember who was on before me, but they were really good. So, yeah.
The crowd was already amped.
They were ready. And, like, that was, I think, probably, like, my second or third. And it was my first open mic that I'd done. I'd done some stuff online because of
because of COVID, yeah.
because of COVID, and I did Chris Ryan's course.
Yeah.
And I tried that bit online over Zoom. Didn't work super great because you can't.
It's so hard. I did
you're
one
talking
Zoom
in it,
mic and it was fucking awkward. But I ended up doing some crowd work on Zoom somehow. Like, I wish I recorded it, but I ended up doing a little bit.
I'd love to know how you did that.
I fucking wish I recorded it. The problem was I was told that it was being recorded, so I didn't record it.
Yeah.
But then afterwards it was like, oh, sorry, bro, we don't have that recording. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Because I've recorded pretty much every one of my sets ever. Like,
Yeah,
I've
wow.
got
Yeah.
back to my first mic I did on the 5th of November 2017. I have everything, either audio or video.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's great. So you're just able to go back to this library of things and go, that worked, and people laughed at that, and
Yeah, like, I've got, I can't see it from here, but I got a stack of notebooks
Yes.
that are, like, all my shit.
Yeah. How
Like-
ratty are your notebooks? Because mine are a disgrace.
Mine aren't too bad because I don't take them with me to the mic. I just sit down at a table like this and write shit out. And then once I've got it worked out, I transcribe that onto my notes on my phone
Yep.
and then take that with me. So, like, the book itself has like a garaged lifestyle. It's not been, there's no, like, city miles on the clock.
Yeah.
Like, when you take your book to a mic, you know, you put it down, you come back, someone's knocked their beer over on it. Like, some dude's using it to roll a joint. You're like, before you know it, it's fucked up.
It's like little pieces cut out of it for
Bits
the
cut
filter.
out of it. Yeah. Someone's fucking, like, opened it up to see if there's any money in there while you're at the bar. You know, people just fuck with your shit.
Yeah. I'm a comedian. There is no money in there.
There's money in there in the form of jokes that might make me money one day.
That's true. One day. Yeah.
Yeah, but I totally fucking bulldozed your point. So you were saying about, like, so you had tried that online.
And I felt like I was talking to a vacuum because it was the way they had organised this particular one. It wasn't Chris's one. It was a different one.
Yeah.
There was no, you didn't hear clapping
It was
or anything.
muted, wasn't it?
It was muted,
Yeah.
which was probably good in that, you know, there was no cross audio or anything
Noise
like that.
pollution,
It was good, but you don't know how your jokes landed. And
Yeah.
I feel like the number one thing about open mics is at least you can hear what people think of what you just said, you know? So it was really gratifying to do that joke in front of people and hear that it's it's close to as being as
Get
good as
something.
you thought it was.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you're like, oh, this is going to be really funny, and you do a bit and it just doesn't land. You're like, oh, I see. Okay, right. That's about where that is.
Yeah, that's what
I didn't
that
realize,
deserves.
but yeah, that's what that deserved, and I didn't know that. Yeah,
Sometimes I'll fucking I'll know something has potential, but I just don't word it right.
yes, yeah,
And I'll get stubborn, and I'll just be like, no, like I know that's got something in it.
yeah,
I look at it like wringing out a sponge. Like sometimes if you don't wring it the right way, you don't
Yes.
get anything out of it.
Yeah.
And you realize that you're not like getting like the right response.
yes,
So sometimes I just squeeze the laughs out of the audience.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes you'll just have to, like, I'll rewrite something and
yes,
then I'll
I've
be
done
like,
that too. Yeah,
or I'll change up the order of something. Or sometimes I'll have two jokes that aren't solid by themselves and I'll like mesh them.
yes,
And just make an even worse bit. No, but like, yeah, so, like it's kind of like a Jaffa curry, Jaffa curry.
Jaffa curry.
You know what I mean?
I'm going to try that on a Jaffle and see how it goes.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah, oh,
Oh, that's called a callback. I mean, just
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
audience. I just,
you can have that.
yeah, it's one for you.
That's one for you.
But yeah, I still have a lot of work to do on a lot of my jokes.
Yes. But that's called being an active.
ADHD.
Yeah, ADHD. It's also called ADHD. Yeah.
I get a joke to the point where like it's good enough, and then I'll move on to the next one. So like I said, I've got all this fucking material in books because everyone's like, oh, I've got 3 hours of material. Good. Try and record 3 hours of material. You've probably got about maybe 45 to an hour.
Yeah.
Like of material that you could polish. Like if you polish that, if you cut and polish that now, you would like I did it. I know that because I did that when I thought that I had like 45.
Yeah.
I worked out that I only had 15.
Far out.
Like because I was like, fuck, like once you trim shit up and you like get it tight,
Yep.
it's you could do 45, but it would be like the same quality as an open mic for 45 minutes.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And that's what you don't factor in. You're like, oh, I've got this. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, because I booked a 45-minute spot in November at Smith's. Like,
Yeah.
I'm doing my own thing.
Yeah, great.
I haven't like announced it yet or anything,
Yeah.
but like it's a known. Like I talk about it. I just haven't put up an event and all that shit
Yeah.
because it's not till fucking November.
Yeah.
So I sort of I have to schedule and plan when I put stuff out because I don't want to like run over any of my existing promotions.
Yeah.
So I need to kind of plan and schedule like my social media posts, even though I'm not even like have a big following or anything. I just treat everything like as if I did have a big following.
Yeah.
It seems like wanky, but like I just do it that way so that like I don't have to make much adjustments.
It's probably a good habit.
It is just building a habit. Like, you know, I sometimes like in my post I'll be like, hey everyone, come out to this, and by everyone I mean the 3 people that interact with.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, but yeah, I have to plan shit and edit stuff and like make stuff. I sort of try to keep it all like pretty universal. And that's why I haven't announced that gig. But this is my 5th year of comedy. I've organised the 45-minute set, so like a 15-minute like I think I got a 5 or 10 as openers, and then I do 45.
Yeah, amazing.
And it's going to be like 5 years of material into a 45-minute set, and
Great.
like
But that's going to be challenging.
it's going and I really need to like I've been trying for the last year to like get stuff ready for it. Like I've kind of kept it in the back of my mind. But like between now and then, it's basically just like working out the order, which jokes go well with each other, because it's hard. I'm trying to build 45 minutes, 5 minutes at a time, because there's no big spots available.
Yeah.
Like I've done a couple of like longer sets, but I've not done any like I haven't done multiple half an hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
yeah. So
Yeah, and so you're basically wrestling with a different sort of beast, really, a 45-minute set as
Yeah.
opposed to doing a 15 or 20-minute set.
I'm lucky enough. I've got a few 15s.
Yep.
And like, to be fair, I do probably 20 every month at the basement, like 10 minutes on either side,
Yeah.
like at the start of the night and after the break. So I'm kind of doing like 20 minutes on that, like open mics. I've learned to keep it to either side of the break too. Like, I used to go up between comedians and do like a callback or a joke. Or
Yeah.
like sometimes I'd do like a full like 1 minute bit. Like if like say I wanted to like change the vibe of the room, if I knew I was getting up someone that had like a slower sense of humor,
Yep.
I'd like have to try and change it and all that shit. I've worked out just to like keep it rolling. Like,
Yes. Yeah.
And that's something I had to learn on the job, you know.
Yeah. Oh, well, it'd be great practice to have to do that. Yeah.
It's being an MC and a comedian at the same time has really helped. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll bet.
But yeah, what sort of what's your happy like time? Like what's the that sounds fucking weird.
My happy time. I can tell you, I do talk about it in my sets.
Oh,
But yeah,
there we go.
yeah.
We have to come out to a show if you want here. I find that 10 minutes is about...
I was going to say 10 minutes.
Yeah.
10 minutes is great. You can kind of work through an arc with a few jokes in it, and just have like a killer finish that feels satisfying for the audience as well. It really does sound like we're talking about something else. But yes, 10 minutes is my ideal.
Yeah, well, it's transferable.
It's transferable. Yeah. Yeah.
I find some of the best sets I've had have been when I went to do a 5 and they said I could run long.
Yes.
Like
And it just gives you a bit of extra time.
like that 5'7" is also my height.
Yeah.
Is 5'7", by the way. For the American listeners, or the like over 65 listeners from Australia that haven't converted.
I feel like I also still measure.
Height is still in.
Yeah, it's imperial.
Yeah, if anyone has Tinder, they know.
Yeah.
That, like,
Yeah.
anyone that's on dating apps knows the height.
Oh yeah, I'm 6'2", if that matters. Like, you know it does, because you wouldn't have put it down otherwise.
Also, if someone says they're 6 foot, they're like 5'10", 5'11".
Yeah.
Otherwise, they would not say that they were.
No.
Like, they wouldn't say. If you're close to 6, you'll say 6, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I can't like rock up. Like, I can't say I'm 6. Like, rock up like fucking Conor McGregor. So who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah. I feel like as well with something like Tinder, people are kind of rounding up because they're considering the very true thing, which is that, like, you know, hopefully your other attributes shine. So you'll, whoever the other person is will just overlook that, like, 1 or 2 inch difference, which,
I was such a dick when I created my first, because I'm in a relationship, have been for a little while now. And when I first started Tinder, it was around when I first started comedy.
Yeah.
So I was trying to be the funny guy.
Yeah,
My fucking Tinder bio said, I'm 5'7" with a 10-inch ... beard. Trying to be funny. And besides, it's like 14 now. But
Don't want to brag. It is.
but the amount of people that, in hindsight, like, the right kind of person wouldn't have, like, first of all, been on Tinder probably. But also the people that would, like, attract wouldn't be the right kind of people.
Yeah, it's all those things you have to think about.
Like, but in hindsight, like, because I was like in my early 20s at the time, I was like, yeah, that's fucking hilarious. You know?
Yeah.
But at the time, I thought it was a good idea, but in hindsight, I'm like,
Yeah.
so cringe. Like, when I think back at shit. Do you ever just think back at shit that you did when you were younger and didn't realize how fucking cringe it was?
Oh my god. Yes. And it'll come to you at like 2 o'clock in the morning and you'll be like, why did I do that?
I will tell you, a story.
All right.
So I was friends with this guy from work, but we weren't like tight. We used to just kind of get a drink after work and hang out. And a few times one drink led to another and we'd end up getting drunk together, you know. You know what that normally means. No, we didn't actually like make out or anything, but like, we just hang out. Anyway, I moved to Canberra from the South Coast. We worked down there together. And then I seen this is why I feel like I've like definitely learnt heaps living by myself. Like I was a very kind of like sheltered when I was younger. Like my parents were didn't really force me to do sports and all that sort of shit, so I just didn't do it. Like,
If you don't come across like that. No, so like when I first started, like when I first moved to Canberra, I was like the most awkward motherfucker you ever met, right? Really?
Like like it's so fucking like creepy as far as like not understanding when someone like didn't want to talk to me or whatever, like just like fucking spectrum level shit, right? I'm not actually officially diagnosed. I might actually have some spectrum-y shit. Like, I mean, a lot of people, if I told them that, wouldn't be surprised.
Yep.
But anyway, my parents encouraged me to do anything that I try. Like, I tried doing golf. I tried doing things like they like would help me with shit, but they never were like, you need to like get out of the house and do stuff. So it ended up me being an adult, 19, not really an adult, but and being in situations which I'd never experienced before. So I see on Facebook that this kid that I used to drink with down the coast, like he was older than me, but I say kid because in hindsight he was like 22.
Yeah, so, you were kids. Yeah.
I seen on Facebook that he'd moved to Canberra. So I messaged him and said, hey, I'm in Canberra too, dude. Do you want to hang out?
Yeah.
And then he like goes, oh yeah, maybe like sometime, just like we'll chat later.
Yep.
So me just going, we'll chat later, no worries. An hour later, I call him. Hey man,
you called?
You just here for a chat? Maybe you said we'll chat later.
Oh yeah, let's later.
It's late. It's been an hour. It's on the dot. It's a bang on.
That's really sweet, actually.
Like, you messaged me at 1:46. It's now 2:46. So it's later. I gave you plenty of time to do stuff.
To do all the things you need to do. Yeah.
I was just like, like I'm in Balconnen, you know, maybe we could hang out. What would be like a good spot? And he's like, oh, I'm in Queanbeyan. And I'm like, all right, cool. Do you want me to like pick you up from your place? Like, what would be like a good time?
You were relentless. You were just like really wanted
and at the time, I fucking didn't, like in hindsight, I'm like, you dumb fuck. Like, this dude clearly didn't want to fucking hang.
Yeah.
He was like older. He was like 22. I was 19.
Yeah.
He probably had his own group of fucking friends that were his age. He probably had like fucking like hot 22-year-old chicks. Like
probably not, but yeah. I see what you mean.
All I know is I wasn't one of them.
You weren't. No.
That wanted to. So anyway, I was just like, oh, maybe I could like pick you up. We could go out, you know. Do you want me to like
That's so nice.
And because I had my license and shit, and he lost his license from DUI, so I thought like maybe I'd be nice.
Got a bit of currency there.
Yeah. I offered to pick him up and all that sort of shit.
Yeah.
This dude, instead of just being like, look, man, like, I'm not really keen. I'll let you know, but like for now, I'm just sort of settling into the place.
Yeah.
He could have just followed me off easy like that.
Yeah.
But instead he's like, oh yeah, that sounds good, man. Just I'll sure, you pick me up like at some point later. And I'm like, cool. Well, what's your address, man? I'll pick you up.
Wow.
And he's like, I don't really know. And I was just like, you don't know. And I'm still not fucking registering that this cunt doesn't want to fucking talk to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it should be on your letterbox, dude. Just like going, like it should be just like out the front. Just say the number. He's like, I just moved in, so I don't really know my address.
Yeah.
He just tried to weasel out of it that way. And the thing is, I like was so fucking like unaware of how.
Wow. Yeah, that is some
that's
serious
some spectrum shit, right?
It's up here. Yeah.
He told me that, and I was just like, all right, cool, man. Well, he's like, I'll text you.
Yes.
And I was just like, and luckily enough, like on top of that, because of the ADHD, because he didn't text me, and because it wasn't like a like
right in your face.
I've actually been diagnosed with ADHD,
yeah,
so that one I can claim.
Yeah.
But I'd like to be reassessed, though, because that diagnosis was when I was in, like, primary school when they didn't know as much about it.
Yeah.
So I'd like to be properly reassessed because there was no follow-on from that. It was just like, oh, yeah, he can't focus in class because he has ADHD. Anyway, let's try and make him focus now without doing any, like, remediation at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I've also had a diagnosis of ADHD, but as an adult. It wasn't as revelatory for me because I wonder if, like, being diagnosed when you're, like, 20, there's kind of, like, a lot of the things that were a problem then I just sorted out with personal organisation. But there's probably still some validity. There's definitely still validity to it. But a lot of my female friends were diagnosed as adults rather than as kids because...
More common with females for it to notice later on, apparently. It's a bit like autism as well.
Yes, and because in women it often manifests as inattentive rather than hyperactive.
Oh,
so
right.
if you're sitting in class and you're zoning out and not paying attention, your report card's likely to say she's very well behaved.
Oh,
you know? So like...
Yeah.
So it'll just go undetected because behaviourally you're not causing a disruption in class, you know.
Whereas I was like the dickhead that interrupted the class.
Yes.
So they were like, oh, there's something wrong with him.
Yes.
Yeah,
naturally.
Yeah, like...
Because there's something you can see.
I do a bit about it, how like that guy was in every class. Like
Oh my God.
when I went to school, there was one of those people in every class before they like realised what it was. They were just like, oh, he's just like, you know, had too much sugar at lunchtime.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They just like, it would make it worse. Being hyped up on shit would make it worse.
Yeah, for sure.
But like it would.
But you can't blame the red cordial completely. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So it's one of those things. But yeah, because back to the like wrapping up the story. So basically, that's something I do though. Like I've kind of trained myself over the years to like try and circle back to shit that I like
otherwise it gets lost in the ether, right?
Yeah, especially on podcasts because people listen and they're just like, what about the rest of that story?
That would have been good. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, to wrap that up was because the ball was in his court to message me. I just forgot about it. And it wasn't until years later I was just like, oh, like I replayed the events and was just like, oh fuck, like that dude just didn't have the ability to tell me. He didn't want to hurt my feelings, so he just didn't like straight up say like, oh man, I just don't want to hang out with a 19-year-old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, it sounds harsh, but I could totally have just... I would have totally preferred him to just say that than me to think.
It doesn't sound harsh. That sounds very reasonable.
If someone just said literally like, oh, look, man, like things were different down the coast. Like, you know, I didn't really have my own group of friends and shit, and it was fun to hang out with you. But like, it's going to be a hassle. I live across the other side of town. I've got a bunch of mates here. Yeah. You know, like whatever. I would just totally be like, hey, cool. But like, I think some people just in general tend to care too much about like trying to not hurt someone's feelings, and it makes it worse. Yeah. Like, we're talking about Tinder and stuff. Like, the amount of times that, like, luckily I'd kind of learnt a little bit. This wasn't in the same, like, fast forward, like, 5 years from when I was a 19-year-old to when I was, like, 24 and on Tinder. I'd kind of learnt a little bit more. Yeah. So, like, when someone would, like, ghost me or whatever, I'd just be like, oh, I know that that's a thing now. Yeah. But I feel like I would, like, luckily Tinder wasn't around when I was, like, 19. Because
oh, my God.
I would have been fucking like a lamb to the slaughter. Like, I would have just thought, like, why doesn't this person want to talk to me?
Yeah.
But if they straight up told me, like, I'm not into you, I'd be like, cool.
Yeah.
Like, it's, like, weird. You know, like, I can take criticism. But if no one gives me criticism, I didn't assume it. Whereas now I'm kind of like better at that.
I wonder if that means that you should go for a reassessment, because often ADHD and autism spectrum, that's comorbid. So, and I've noticed that with friends who are neurodivergent and are on the spectrum, they often just prefer you to tell them directly, like, it has to be very direct communication that often other people would find a bit brutal. So I think I would find it a little brutal if someone said to me, I don't want to hang out with you.
Yeah.
But the fact that that's something you prefer kind of indicates to me that, maybe like that's...
Maybe that is a thing. Well, I tend to be like that with people. And then, but like, I've learnt to like say, but I sometimes get pulled up. They're just like, I'm never like rude to someone, I'm just a direct. Sometimes people take criticism as negative, whereas like I think that some people also like need to hear things.
Some people need to hear things, correct, yeah.
Like I was at a gig and there was a DJ there and they were just playing music. There was nothing crazy. They were even just like on their phone and shit. Like, and at the end, they said to me, "Oh, did you like my set?" And I was just like, "It's not really my thing, but like, I'm glad that you're bringing people out of their house."
Yep.
And that person was so fucking offended by that. And I was
what you were saying is it's not my genre, or you know,
I
whatever
literally
it was.
said it wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
Like, but I'm glad you're bringing people out of the house.
Yeah.
Because that's literally how I feel about it. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, if you can get people to come buy tickets to your show or whatever, good on you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think also sometimes I'm too, like, that sounds like a wanky thing to say, but sometimes I'm like too honest.
I'm too honest.
Yeah.
It's just that's something you say at a job interview, right? Like, what would
that's
you
a
say?
Tinder bio.
Yeah, I'm just too honest.
I'm just too honest.
Well, that's the other thing, circling back to Tinder, was you were saying that you know, if you were on there when you were 19, you wouldn't get the hint.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people on Tinder, a lot of women in particular, are afraid of being that direct because, like, you know, whoever they're talking to might get really butthurt about it and say something fucked.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, from my years of being a bartender, I've seen guys ask chicks if they want a drink. And I've just thought, why don't they just say no? Or like, leave me alone or whatever.
Yeah.
It's because fucking some people just cannot fucking take no as a okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like, they have to be like, oh, fucking, well, you're ugly anyway.
Yeah,
like,
that's
it's
right.
Just like, dude, you didn't have to fucking say that. Like, it's true. Like, I can't really talk on behalf of like
because
that
it sounds
situation, because I've never been in that situation from the other perspective.
Yeah,
I've never really been the guy to walk up to a random chick and say, "Do you want a drink?" as well. Like, I haven't been on either side of that fucking story. So it's hard for me to say that, but I've been the bartender observing that, and fuck. Like, I get it with chicks coming up to me. Guys do it sometimes as well, but mostly chicks will come up to me and just grab my beard.
Right. Do they? I feel like that would be such an intrusion.
Yeah, I know, but I don't even fucking know most of these people.
Yeah.
I had one recently, and my line that I say is when sometimes people ask, like, "Can I touch it?" And I'll be like, "No," but like my line is these days, I'm like, only my girlfriend touches my beard. That's what I say to people, because it like also drops that I have a girlfriend as well.
So that's like two birds, one stone.
One stone, yeah. And I tell you what's funny, there was like this fucking chick's friend was like the mediator. So I'm working this night. Her friend was at the bar giving some dude this fucking ear beating about his fucking chakras and all this fucking gemstone shit. And I was bartending. I've served both of them a drink and they're just still at the bar.
Yeah.
And he's trying to like hook up with her.
Yeah.
So he's listening to all this shit, just like,
all right, okay, yeah.
Oh, I've never really thought about that. So you're saying
That's
everyone
true.
has auras, and fuck it. So I feel like I've learnt a lot from you. You're like, he's doing all that shit.
Man.
Obviously, that doesn't work out, or he's just like realised that the fucking payoff isn't worth the conversation.
Yeah.
So All of her shit looked like she came from Ishka, but yeah. Like a closing down sale. She like bought the last.
They always have those mad sales, and you always see those people.
They've been closing
yeah.
down since they opened.
Yeah,
but they her and a friend were at this table, and I walk over and I'm just like, "Hey guys, last drinks at the bar. If you want anything else, come see me." And her friend just drunkenly just goes, "Oh," and grabs my beard, and I went, "Hey," like that, and I like pull it out of the way.
Whoa.
And I was just like, hey, this is not like only my girlfriend touches my beard.
Yeah.
I just get that line out. Her friend, Miss Chakra Ishka chick, just stands like between us and starts apologizing on behalf of her friend and being like, she misread the situation. She's just obviously just thought that, like that was the right thing to do.
That's overkill, but yes. Yeah.
And just fully starts explaining it to me, like trying to like fucking gaslight me into thinking that like she like didn't do a bad thing.
Yeah.
And did I use that right? Anyway, is that gaslighting? Anyway, so
yes, that's
kind
gaslighting.
of, yeah,
that's
yeah.
gaslighting.
She's fully trying to like explain to me that like she misread and I literally just like see past.
Yep.
Or maybe I don't know. Fuck it. I see past all this shit because I'm sober.
Yep.
Working, and I just say to her, "At what point is that the right read?"
Yeah.
Like, and she just like didn't have anything. I'm like, anyway, bar will be open for another few minutes. Come grab a drink if you want one, and just walked off.
Yes.
But I was just like, imagine thinking that was okay. Like, yeah, just to I tell you what's funny. I kind of give this vibe of like, don't touch me to people that know me like pretty well.
Yeah.
So like, I've been at work and like all my colleagues and shit, like at the bar, like when they leave, they like hug each other. I'll see you on Monday, blah, blah, blah. But someone just come over like, oh, I'd see you, bye, and then they get to me like, bye, and they just walk off like they're like hugging everyone leading up to me.
Different people have different thresholds.
Yeah. Like if I'm close with someone, I'm okay, but like I just don't really. I tell you what's funny. I've heard someone say like, I don't do hugs like that. I don't want to be that guy. Like if someone hugs me, and I know them and like we're tight or whatever, then that's good. But like, I don't know. Maybe that is some more spectrum shit about personal fucking bubbles and shit.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, fuck, I don't know. But yeah, you're right though. It is important to like get reassessed now that they know more stuff.
Yeah,
you
like
know
just
what I mean?
the conversation we've
I'll
just
give them
had.
this fucking episode.
Yeah, just be like, listen to this and tell me what you think. I'll do your little quiz or whatever.
I literally like telling you how I'm like, I'm not sure if I have like anything more. I definitely have ADHD, and then like I go to continue to prove how I actually have all this other shit anyway. Like an expert watches this episode and just hits me up directly.
I think that you are on the spectrum. Yeah. Actually, it was weird the other night at I can't remember which room, but I did a bit about aspergic ethnic dad friendships, as I call it. Like it's just this thing where like my dad, who's also never been formally diagnosed, but like I've just noticed that these men can just strike up these friendships which are based on them talking at each other. And then when things get really serious, they bring each other food. And I'm like, oh, that's really sealing the deal. You brought some figs from your yard. I know that this is a real thing. But somebody in the audience made they went, oh, when I said aspergic ethnic dad friendships. I'm like, this is my dad, you know? And also, like, yes, he's never been formally diagnosed, but, you know, he's come to a different country. He's raised a family. He's worked all his life.
I'm just checking this, by the way. I'm not,
Yeah. You know, don't feel sorry for him on anyone's behalf. He's fine. He has a wonderful life. And if he saw this bit, he'd think it was funny.
Yeah.
You know, like, it was just that weird thing of like...
It's okay because he'd be laughing too, sort of thing,
it's also okay to be aspergic and just...
I think that I get away with, like, some of my shit because I think about it from so many different perspectives. You
Yeah.
know, like I try and like keep everybody fairly happy, but still push the boundaries.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take a quick break. I need to chuck another SD card in my camera. For the last couple minutes, it'll just be a picture. There's no video.
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
the incognito part. The last 2
good.
minutes of this is audio only.
Yeah.
So we'll take a quick break and then we'll come back for the closing part of the for the podcast.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Cheers. Please flip over the tape to side B to hear the rest of this podcast. Welcome back. Just took a quick break there. We're just going to wrap up now with the last part of the podcast. So if you enjoyed hearing the episode and you want to come and see either of us live, we've got a gig coming up in the first week of July, which is the 5th of July. Got a gig coming up with some Canberra comedians, yourself
Yep.
on the lineup. Daniel Towns headlining. Pretty big comedian coming down from Sydney. Yeah, I've worked with Daniel before, and it'd be good to have him back on the stage.
I'm excited.
Canberra
yeah.
stage, yeah. Yeah, so looking forward to that. You got any special plans lined up for that set, or?
Oh, no, not yet.
Not yet?
No.
Well, it's still little. Things change in time. You never know.
I could just pop something absolutely brilliant out between now and then, but
Yep.
do have to think about it. But yeah, it'll be really, really good.
Yeah, looking forward to it. So come out to that one. You'll be able to, if you check out my Instagram, links in the bio, Facebook, it's all on there. So where can people find yourself on social media?
Yep. My Instagram handle is @fatlybaffled. Also, if you just look for my name, Suma Iyer,
Yep.
I'm on there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're here from Instagram, I've tagged all the stuff in the description. Like you have tickets, you have Suma's socials as well. So go from there. And thanks everyone for tuning in. Cheers. Don't buy me a drink. Just name names.
Yeah, right. Big Tony. You'll get fucking thrown out.
A strip club with your floppy disk.
All day. Make people feel shame for shit all day.
Don't blow
Turn
it.
it into a hard drive.
Yeah, right. You'll get fucking weird
Keep it simple. Count your money.
that they're not proud of.
Just give me $10.
All right.